Hello, I'm Adamsdownboy and welcome to part 3 of our Vow of the Disciple raid guide series. With me are my 6 Muthacluckers Clan mates who are still clinging to the claim of professional despite all the evidence you'll see here. Aaron PK, Alex, Electric Sheep, Minoni, Tukes and Zone Runner. We're going to illustrate how to complete the collection, more commonly known as the Caretaker encounter, and show how many times you can use your revive token and still get a clear. This is the first proper boss encounter in the raid. It uses mechanics you've previously used, mixing gathering stacks of knowledge from the entry payload encounter and identifying glyphs and shooting them on an obelisk to clear it from the acquisition encounter. Your aim as a fireteam is to force the Caretaker, which is a darkness mutated abomination, through 3 floors by clearing obelisks before it is able to destroy them, doing damage on each floor and then killing it in a final corridor before it triggers a final stand wipe mechanic. The obelisk on each floor is cleared by remembering and shooting glyphs that you collected by running through them in a dark side room. In total, there are 9 in the room. As with the acquisition encounter, if you're part of the team that's collecting glyphs, knowing their names is essential so that you can communicate which ones need to be shot with your partner. I'll put the link to a website that can be used to help learn the official Bungie glyph callouts in the video description. The obelisk again acts as a timer, slowly filling up as time passes or if the obelisk takes damage, and causing a team wipe if it fills with light to the top. The orange bar ablated adherents Scorn, as in the acquisition encounter, need to be controlled, but they are more of an annoyance here and unless completely out of control are less likely to chunk enough damage and time off the obelisk to cause a team wipe. After spawning, the Caretaker will turn left or right randomly and slowly follow a set path towards that floor's obelisk, shooting electrical attacks with its hands and releasing explosive homing flying cruxes, or bees. These will dive at anyone in the open, damaging and adding stacks of the pervading darkness debuff. If it reaches the obelisk, its attack will instantly fill it with light, causing a wipe. As it walks, the Caretaker must be delayed by stunning, so it takes longer to reach the obelisk. However, stunning will release a swarm of bees from its backpack. These should be shot and destroyed by anyone on your fire team who's not involved doing something else. So, as you first enter the area, coming up onto what will be the first floor of the encounter, you'll see the Caretaker next to a large darkness crux, floating in a dark energy field. On the platform ahead, there's a raid banner area to fill ammo and supers near the obelisk. Around this, you'll see 3 plates marked on the floor. This will be where damage is delivered from in the boss DPS phase of the fight. You'll also see the door to the dark side room, with cruxes either side to open it. Again, as in acquisition, shooting the crux starts the encounter, so familiarise yourself with the layout on the first, and with a little bit of jumping, the second floor before starting. The layouts and mechanics of the second and third floors are much the same. The Caretaker spawns and walks up to try and destroy the obelisk before you can clear it. The upper floors get slightly harder in different ways each time. On the second floor, the dark side room is probably the most difficult of the 3, being the largest and having knowledge shards and glyphs on multiple levels. It also seems to have more columns to block line of sight to the other glyphs in the room. On the third floor, the damage plates themselves are spaced much further apart and there are larger gaps in the floor of the side room. As you can see, the second floor has 2 doors into the side room and the third floor has 3. Shooting any of the door cruxes will open up all of the doors on that floor. We set up in 3 teams of 2. 1 pair will collect the glyphs in the dark side room and clear the obelisk, Team Runner. 1 pair will stun the Caretaker to slow its progress, Team Stunner. And 1 pair will be on ad clear and bee killing duty, with 1 covering left side and 1 right side, which, because I'm drawn to alliteration, I'm calling Team Gunner. For less experienced fireteam members, ad clear is probably the easiest task. For weapon recommendations, for boss damage you'll need sustained DPS weapons. Rocket launchers can be used, but you'll all be on a plate in close proximity to each other and the Caretaker, so this can risk blowing yourself up by hitting someone else in the fire team. Linear fusion rifles, optimised for burst damage, are probably a safer option. Each team can set up differently, although burst damage supers are very useful to chuck big damage without taking too long to execute. The run team hopefully won't be dealing with too many ads. They should only need to mop up any that slip past those on ad clear duty. Alongside a good close to mid-range primary weapon, they can use a special weapon that helps with DPS, a sniper rifle with clown cartridge or auto-loading holster to pair with a burst damage power weapon. Again, the stun team will need a close mid-range primary weapon to use to stun the Caretaker and help clear bees, but can similarly set up for boss damage with a sustained damage weapon pairing. The gun team will need to use primary and special weapons that can clear spawns quickly, so similar to the acquisition encounter, they can use weapons that spread damage over an area, such as Osteostriga, or void weapons that you can proc volatile rounds on, wave frame grenade launchers, reservoir burst fusion rifles, or Witherhorde to clear groups of adds as they spawn in. If you're able to fit it in your loadout, Outbreak Perfected can be very useful here. The Siva nanites can help with clearing a spawn and preventing Taken Sirens from cloning, and can act as a backup boss damage weapon, particularly if multiple people are using it and you have the catalyst unlocked. Once the encounter is started by shooting a door crux and opening the door, one of the two on Team Runner will enter the side room, with the others staying outside. Inside are two mini-boss wizards called Dulna the Dissector and Marin the Devourer with stupid amounts of health, so don't bother about trying to kill them, and the Shadow Thrall they create. Scattered about the room are 9 knowledge shards with random glyphs attached. The obelisk will show the glyphs available in the side room, initially greyed out. As glyphs are identified and shot, they will not be replaced, so if you're collecting 3 glyphs at a time, you will have 3 glyphs to locate from the 9 the first time, 3 from 6 the second time, and the last time runners just need to shoot the 3 remaining. The members of Team Runner can pick up 1, 2 or 3 stacks of knowledge buffs and glyphs at a time in the side room by running through to collect. We find that 3 at a time is safer, as it means fewer visits to the side room. This may take slightly more time than picking up 2, where one person can clear glyphs from the obelisk solo by standing in a corner while the other is collecting from the side room, but if Team Stunner keeps on top of the Caretaker, you should have more than enough time on each floor. Once inside, runners will gain stacks of pervading darkness pretty quickly. As before, this restricts your view as it increases and will kill you if it reaches times 10. Outside the room, the stacks will gradually decrease. If you are having problems with pervading darkness in any room, but particularly the second floor room, it's better to pick up a couple of stacks of knowledge and associated glyphs and get out while you can still see, rather than stay in and push for one more. Runners will need to call out and remember glyphs as they're collected. This shouldn't be too difficult as there's not too much of a delay between each one. As the runner inside calls out the third glyph, the runner outside should shoot the door crux to make sure the door is open and start checking the obelisk for the location of the glyphs that need to be shot and cleared. Once outside, Team Runner needs to wait for an on-screen prompt that says, "An obelisk awaits player name's offering," and then shoot the collected glyphs on the obelisk within a second or 2 of each other. If you stand at a corner of the obelisk, you'll be able to see the glyphs on 2 sides. You'll see the message "The obelisk accepts your offering when successful," or "The obelisk rejects your offering if the wrong glyphs are shot." Once successful, rinse and repeat until all the glyphs are cleared. Remember that as they are cleared from an obelisk, glyphs are not replaced, so on the third run you don't need to remember which ones you've collected. You just need to shoot the last 3 glyphs visible. While this is happening, Team Stunner will be slowing the Caretaker down. To do this, they will set up either side of the platform where it spawns, so that when it starts walking up a platform, one is in front and one behind. The one in front needs to get up close and gain the Caretaker's Gaze buff, which causes its face to glow and triggers an attempt to ground pound. Runners will need to be careful not to get yeeted by this attack. Shooting its face will stagger the Caretaker and open the backpack, releasing a small swarm of bees. The second Guardian shoots the backpack to stun the Caretaker and close it to limit the number of bees that escape. After the Caretaker recovers, and following a short delay during which no stunning can take place, Team Stunner just repeats this stagger stun cycle, which gives Team Runner more time to clear that floor's obelisk. While not stunning the Caretaker, they should also help with adds and bees. In an emergency, if one of the stun team has been yeeted, the remaining member will need to call out to the ad clear team that they will need to help. You'll need to get the Caretaker's Gaze and stagger with a face shot, and one of Team Gunner will need to hit the backpack when it opens to stun. Once Team Runner has finished clearing the obelisk and the ritual is complete message appears, the Caretaker will no longer stun, so you can move up to be close to the damage plate nearest the side it's walking up. Meanwhile, those on Team Gunner will be killing red bar taken scions and orange bar spawn ablated adherents as they spawn in from the platforms on the sides and on the walkways, and killing bees. Prioritise the spawn and the taken snipers, but clear all of the ads quickly to let the other teams do their jobs unmolested. The red bar taken that teleport in will be scions, which will clone themselves if the spawn is not wiped out quickly. Remember that Team Gunner members need to be ready to take on Caretaker backpack stunning duty if a member of Team Stunner is yeeted by the Caretaker or falls off. When all 9 glyphs are cleared from the obelisk, you'll see the on-screen message to say, "The ritual is complete, power awaits you." The whole fire team should collapse to be close to, but not standing on the damage plate nearest the side the Caretaker is walking up from. When there, clear any remaining ads and bees until the damage plate glows. Once anyone steps on the plate, it starts a 10-second timer until it fades, so unless the whole fire team's already there, stay off the plate as it starts to glow to maximise damage time for everyone. If anyone is away, wait for a moment or two until your fire team is assembled, then coordinate to step on the plate together and start boss DPS. When the plate is active, if you're standing on it, you'll see you have the Resonant Breakthrough buff, without which you can't damage the Caretaker. You'll see an on-screen message saying the current well begins to fade as a prompt to move to the next plate. The sequence is always nearest to the Caretaker, mid and then furthest. Healing rifts can be really useful to help tank damage from the Caretaker and bees. Be aware that depending on where the Caretaker is standing, damage plates can have their view obscured by columns during the boss DPS phase. This can lead to jostling by fireteam members as each attempts to get line of sight to the Caretaker's head for crit damage. The Caretaker's health bar is damage gated. You'll see it indicated visually on the health bar as a section in a lighter orange colour. The damage plate timer means you have 30 seconds to reach the health bar marker as a fire team, or you'll make your life more difficult on subsequent floors. Don't get too spread out, keep an eye on the on-screen message, and be ready to move from plate to plate. Once the DPS phase is finished, stairs will appear that lead to the floor above to rinse and repeat. There's a gap in the end of the stairs to both the second and third floors. In particular, be careful at the top of the third floor stairs where the gap is wide enough to fall through. When you hit the last stand indicator on the Caretaker health bar, stairs will appear that lead to a long corridor with 3 final damage plates and the Caretaker standing at the end. Again, the timer will start when the first person steps on the plate, so if you're up first, wait until all of your fire team is in the corridor and coordinate stepping on to maximise damage output. You need to kill it before the last plate fades to avoid a team wipe. Once killed, the chest will spawn with loot. You can drop the Insidious Pulse Rifle, Cataclysmic Linear Fusion Rifle, Forbearance Grenade Launcher, arms or class item armour here. While the acquisition encounter was quite chaotic, with information passing between different teams, the Caretaker is much more contained. Runners have their job, stunners theirs, and except when someone gets yeeted off by the Caretaker and someone needs to sub in, gunners have theirs. For the most part, communication will be between members of the same team rather than across the whole fire team, which makes it a little easier to follow. So for this guided video walkthrough, I'm going to take you through the first floor, showing the encounter from the viewpoint of each team and pausing to explain the mechanics as they happen. Just to say again that this is our first video guide, and Sheep is continuing to use his clapperboard that we plan to use to sync the 6 videos with variable degrees of success and personal enjoyment. We'll start by looking at the running team. You'll see the cycle of one person entering, collecting and then clearing glyphs, while the other helps outside by keeping the door open and checking to see where the collected glyphs appear on the obelisk and getting in position to help clear them.
Right, first time.
Rito. Ready.
Whatever. Clap.
Took starts the encounter by shooting a door crux and enters the side room.
Us in.
Oh, wait. Oh,
No, never mind.
too late. That was not satisfying. I regret it.
Love. Earth. Knowledge.
Tukes collects love, earth and knowledge glyphs. Erin checks for their locations on the obelisk and finds they're all on the same side, then shoots the door crux to make sure the doors open when Tukes is exiting.
All on one side.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Nope.
Tukes and Erin clear the first 3 glyphs from the obelisk, and Erin shoots the door crux to enter the side room while Tukes recovers from the pervading darkness debuff, and Bag revives Alex from his yeeting. There's a quick discussion about wiping, but the fire team pushes on.
See ya.
That'll be a restart.
Nice start.
Are we doing the death?
Yeah.
Should be
Let's see.
right.
I guess they can get it there.
Erin collects light, black garden and fleet glyphs. Took sees the door is closing and shoots the crux to reopen, then searches for the glyphs on the obelisk. Once they're found, he sees if they can all be cleared by him by standing at a corner of the obelisk.
Yeah, light. Black garden and fleet. Light, black garden, fleet.
Tukes enters the side room to collect the final 3 glyphs. He doesn't need to call them out as they will be the last 3 glyphs on the obelisk.
That one. And that one. Doesn't really matter now. So I've got the last 3.
Erin opens the door and she and Tukes shoot the last 3 glyphs to clear the obelisk.
Right. Okay, stop done him.
Mm-hmm.
The message, "The ritual is complete, power awaits," appears. The fire team converges on the damage plate nearest the path of the Caretaker and clears bees and adds while waiting. The damage plate is activated and the resonant breakthrough buff is applied. Boss DPS starts. Next, we'll look at Team Stunner. This will show that, even with a yeet and missing nearly 45 seconds of stuns as a result, it's still possible to clear a floor fairly easily. You'll be watching for the cycle of obtaining the Caretaker's gaze and encouraging the ground pound, and then staggering and stunning by shooting the face and backpack. If you're efficient, you should be able to stun the Caretaker every 15 seconds or so.
Every time.
Ready.
Whatever, clappers in.
Oh, wait. Oh,
No,
Never mind.
too late.
The Caretaker spawns in and turns towards Alex, who immediately starts meleeing to try and get its gaze.
And that was not satisfying. I regret it.
Love. Earth. Knowledge.
After getting its gaze, the Caretaker ground pounds and becomes vulnerable to the face stagger shot. However, Alex is yeeted from the platform, so the stagger stun shots are missed.
One side.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Nope. See ya.
That'll be a restart.
Nice start.
Minnow gets the Caretaker's gaze and attempts to stagger and stun Solo by making it turn to face him while vulnerable to the stagger shot before it turns to expose the backpack for the stun shot, but isn't successful.
Are we doing the death?
Yeah.
Should be
Let's see.
right.
I guess they can get it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Alex, revived, rejoins, standing in the path of the Caretaker with Minnow behind.
Light. Black garden and fleet.
Alex gets the gaze and the Caretaker ground pounds. Alex shoots its face to stagger, while Minnow shoots the backpack to stun. Both Minnow and Alex shoot bees while it's stunned.
Light, black garden, fleet.
After the Caretaker recovers from the stun, Alex gets the gaze and Alex and Minnow repeat the stagger stun cycle. Again, Alex gets the gaze and the stagger stun cycle is repeated.
One. And that one. Doesn't really matter now. So I've got the last 3. Right. Okay, stop done him.
Mm-hmm.
After Team Runner has cleared the obelisk, the message "The ritual is complete, power awaits" appears, and the Caretaker can no longer be stunned. The Fireteam converges on the damage plate nearest the path of the Caretaker and clears Bs and adds while waiting. The damage plate is activated and the resonant breakthrough buff is applied. Boss DPS starts. Team Gunner's responsibilities are simpler. Essentially, kill stuff, don't die. You'll see the cadence of the spawns here, alternating between Taken Scions and Orange Bar Scorn and Orange Bar Taken Vandal Snipers.
Right, first time.
Return.
Ready.
Wanna clap us in?
Oh, wait. Oh.
First, Taken Scions spawn in on the platform and pathway.
Right,
Yeah, man.
Too late. And that was not satisfying. I regret it.
Love. Knowledge.
all on one side.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Nope.
Taken Snipers spawn on the left and right platforms.
See ya.
That'll be a restart.
Let's start.
Are we doing the death?
Yeah.
Should be
Let's see,
right.
I can.
A Belated Adherent Scorn and Taken Scions spawn in on the platforms and walkway.
I guess they can get it there. Hopefully.
Yeah, light. Black Garden and Fleet. Right, Black Garden. Fleet.
Taken Vandal Snipers spawn in on each side. A Belated Adherent Scorn and Taken Scions spawn in on the platforms and walkway.
That one. And that one. Doesn't really matter now. So I've got the last three, right? Okay, stop stunning.
Mm-hmm.
After Team Runner has cleared the obelisk, the message "The ritual is complete, power awaits" appears, and no further adds will spawn. The Fireteam converges on the damage plate nearest the path of the Caretaker and clears Bs and adds while waiting. The damage plate is activated and the resonant breakthrough buff is applied. Boss DPS starts. As you can see, the one death didn't result in an automatic wipe, so don't fret too much about achieving a perfect run with everything executed flawlessly. In fact, in the rest of the video, you'll get to see how much Alex enjoys unpowered flight. This is pretty much an occupational hazard of the Team Stunner Fireteam member that's ahead of the Caretaker and trying to get its gaze. In the next section, again, watch the Fireteam pairs to see each individual cycle of encounter mechanics and pause if you need to check what's going on.
Next plate.
Right. Next way.
It's already immune.
Oh.
Got damage.
Professional. After I start like immediately dying on the first one
It's
attempt.
alright. I didn't even fall off in the room, I just slipped off the edge of one of these bridges,
Yeah.
so you know.
I just took a second to really show that you need to jump over the gap at the end.
Mhm.
Here we go. Earth. Black Heart. Kill.
Hello?
the other end. Black Garden.
What's your timer?
Go. Should be able to make it. Oh no, door shut on me. Yeah, door shut on me.
I can't be
Go on, Tukes, I'll get the rest.
I got sent out
Okay.
of the map again.
Black Garden,
Professional
Couldn't get the
streamers.
Worm,
Someone can try and help Menno, it would be appreciated.
Somebody shoot us back.
Since I need to go back 2 levels
Knowledge.
basically.
Black Garden, Worm, Knowledge.
Black Garden, worm.
I think this is going to
Okay, you
look
got-
great on
Worm
video.
knowledge.
I get the rise for zone.
Yeah, I'm here.
No, I just got raked by the ads.
Can you get the rest there?
I have got a res now.
I can get him.
No, I'm dead.
Alright.
Oh
Okay, we can stop
And I
swimming
got
now.
I got pushed again. This is going wonderful.
Are you dead?
Man.
I'll wait here.
Oh, sorry.
I think.
Next flight.
Let's wait.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Next fight.
Wait. Now we got it. Pro team.
I've got no ammo of any sort.
Honestly, I don't remember the last time he pushed me so many times. You know?
Okay. So you have to be careful the second time as well, because there's another gap that's even bigger.
Where's that?
Taking the left or the right zone?
I'll take it. Right.
Shit, okay.
Okay, Savaphone. Go. And you.
Sabathoon, Scorn
Go.
and Commune.
And commune, yeah.
Okay,
God damn it.
I've got Scorn and Commune.
He's not paying any attention to me.
Yep. He's already here, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is going to be...
Is that a swear word?
Drink,
I don't know,
Ah,
not for me.
Ascendant Flame, and Darkness.
Got drink this in the flank.
Got Darkness. Cool.
Rotate it a little bit.
Just watch your timer in there, and if you only to get two, get two.
He
No,
would
I've
not
got him.
stun.
You got one of them. Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Alright.
Stunning.
This
Oh,
is
that's
your
lucky.
side zone. Or the other
This
side.
side, yeah, this side you're at Tukes. Should be first fight.
Still up. I still him in. No.
No, it's up. Next fight. Out of ammo.
plate.
I'm sure my rocket hit me there. Charge the stats. Any okay.
That's quite. That's quite.
Can you drop some heavy ammo?
Yeah, typical.
Once you get the Caretaker encounter down, it should feel like elegant choreography, with both mechanics and ad clear all occurring in parallel, independent of each other, with the Fireteam combining on the damage plates to DPS the boss. And probably less like the unsupervised barn dance we've just demonstrated. But even with Alex's repeated yeetings and missing half a damage phase, and using 4 revive tokens, this should demonstrate that there's a fair bit of slack and forgiveness, and that you can be solidly in the middle of the bell curve for skill and still be successful. That's the end of our guide to the collection encounter. I'd like to thank Ascendant Raisin for making the glyph callout infographic free to use, Rick Bilson for permission to use his maps as the basis for the ones I've created, and Kyber from kyberscorner.com for permission to use the raid loot infographic. Thank you for watching, we hope that's helped you, and may all your drops be god rolls.